You're listening to Systemic Era Podcast. The failure was designed.
Trump made enemy whose revenge is going to be quite sweet. Ex-GOP strategist based on an article by Danilo Healthy. Trump's Senate hostage, the real power dynamic. The sources surface drama is revenge theater, a former GOP operative reveling in the idea that Senate Republicans may finally turn on Donald Trump. But a useful fact is not a feud, it is a hierarchy. Trump is still the figure who can punish senators, shape primaries, and force them to bargain against their own institutional interests. John Cornyn lost his runoff after Trump at Ken Paxton. Bill Cassidy reportedly ended up in a shouting match with Trump behind closed doors. That is not mere personality conflict. It is discipline. Trump does not need formal authority over the senators to control the terms of their behavior. He has already shown he can make loyalty expensive and defiance humiliating. What the reporting confirms. The article gives one clean signal: Cornyn's post about the filibuster and anti-terrorism bills are being read as a FU to Trump. That may be petty. It may also be the first honest acknowledgment of the trap Trump built for his own caucus. Republican senators are now in a posture where even routine legislative choices are interpreted as personal acts of rebellion or obedience. That is the real story. The party that spent years performing submission now wants credit for discovering self-respect in fragments. The details matter because they show the damage is institutional, not just emotional. The Senate is reduced to a venue for intra-party spot-settling while governance gets squeezed into the margins. The blame game is the point. Wilson's line that these senators cannot go home and claim they are fighting inflation, fuel prices, grocery prices, or corruption cuts through the usual cover story. They cannot sell themselves as independent problem solvers because they have already sold a brand that made independence impossible. That is where the article's framing is sharpest and where it still understates the affair. The issue is not that these senators are boxed in some abstract sense. They have built a box. They accepted Trump's power when it benefited them, absorbed the degradation as a transaction, and now discover the cost when the transaction comes to manufactured helplessness. The article treats the possibility of revenge against Trump as satisfying. Fine, but revenge is not governance, and outrage is not accountability. The danger is that Republican senators may use their resentment to posture against Trump while leaving the larger machinery intact. The same incentives, the same fear of primary punishment, the same willingness to subordinate public responsibility to tribal survival. That is how authoritarian politics survives inside a constitutional shell. It turns institutions into hostage situations and then sells the spectacle of resistance as proof that the system is correcting itself. A shouted match, a Nazi tweet, a filibuster threat, a private grudge, all of it can be framed as conflict while nothing fundamental changes. The clown suit was chosen. Wilson's line about not just wearing the hat but the whole clown suit is vulgar but accurate. The senators did not accidentally wander into humiliation. They chose proximity to Trump, accepted the political protection it offered, and helped normalize the premise that loyalty matters more than competence, policy, or public trust. That is a pattern the story reveals. A party that outsourced authority to a strongman now complains that the strongman owns the house. The comedy is fake. The consequence is real. When elected officials build their careers on submission to a man who treats institutions as props, they do not merely lose dignity. They help convert public power into private leverage, then call the result politics. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Raw Story for today's article. With the automated voice of Diana, thanks for listening.